Valencia, sunny Spain, a beautiful stadium, not a beautiful season, finishing in 16th place last year. But there's something tells me about this club, it has potential. You can see here in the history, it's not all been doom and gloom for Valencia, picking up actually a league title in the 2001/2002 season. Yes, it is a little bit up and down, there's not really much consistency, apart from this area here, where obviously you can see pretty much 3 back-to-back third place finishes. Then it obviously goes down, and realistically, things aren't looking great at the moment, but there's potential with this club, and that's what we're going to try and do today. We are actually predicted to finish 9th in the first season, so it's going to be quite a tricky one. In terms of the facilities, it's quite average. I would say quite average. Nothing too spectacular. Some, obviously, the key employees we're going to be taking over from Ruben Baraja. I'm not honestly too sure how he is as a manager. Not the best knowledge on that at all. In terms of the key players, obviously, you can expect it to be Jose Gaia, a player that we're probably going to be quite tough. It's going to be tough to keep him. Let's just say that. But Gabriel Paulista is another very good player, in my opinion. And we're just going to try and see what we can do with this team, because they have got a lot of potential. Very limited finances with Valencia, actually meaning we couldn't make one signing. But going into this actual season, we are going to be using my ultimate 4-3-3. And these are going to be some of the key players we want to keep around and actually make sure they get some game time. That is going to be Cavani, Musa, Gaia, Paulista, and also, I'm not going to say it because I'll butcher the name, but Cavani's going to be the real talisman of this team. Yes, I know he's quite an old player, but realistically, he's still got so much to offer. He is 35, but 16 finishing, good fitness for his age as well. And realistically, he is going to be what we need if we are going to try and recover from where they finished, obviously, in the last season. So I'm hoping that is going to be enough. Obviously, the likes of Musa is a great option, very young, lots of energy in that midfield. Guy is going to be the key player as always. And obviously, these are going to be the players that I am going to lock in to this team. But in terms of the actual schedule, let's go ahead and have a little look at that as well. So we have played some. The friendlies have gone okay, not the best. We have lost a couple of games here and there. But as you can see, if your average Spanish season, realistically, I mean, for the first month, we're going to have Girona, Bilbao, Atletico Madrid. I'd like to pick up a few games right there. There's no real months which stand out massively that are necessarily challenging in terms of, like, maybe this one actually October, you're playing Sevilla and Barcelona, which, you know, is going to be quite a tough month realistically. But as we go down right now, the fixtures are actually quite nicely broken up. Each month sort of offers a game in there which is going to be challenging, and then the rest of them you possibly can get some points from. This one going to be quite difficult. Real Madrid, Bilbao, Real Sociedad, not going to be too easy at all. But I'm quite confident with this first season, because I do feel like the team isn't actually that bad in FM. So yeah, I might regret saying that, but let's go and see. So, not actually too bad at all considering it's the first season. With Valencia, we have actually finished in 2nd place, winning 32 games, drawing 3 and only losing 3, and only coming a couple of points behind Real Madrid, obviously, who do lift the trophy, which, in my opinion, isn't too bad at all. Atletico Madrid and Barcelona also filling up the Champions League positions. Atletico Madrid actually beating Barcelona there by quite a decent point tally as well. And it is going to be Edison Cavani with 31 league goals, the top goal scorer. This guy really can do it. I do promise you, I'm not a player that judges about how old a player is in FM. I will happily play people that are 30 plus. We then got Lino and Cavani also coming in with the highest average match rating, and actually Gaia coming in with 17 assists. We actually controlled or put ourselves in quite a good position here for most clean sheets, player of the matches. We didn't have a bad season considering this is obviously our first job, our first season at the job, should I say. But realistically, it's actually quite impressive. In terms of the cup, it's not the best, though, I must say, as we get knocked out in the semi-final isn't actually too bad for a first season against Real Madrid there, which Edison Cavani obviously was a top goal scorer in with 5 goals. And the Spanish Super Cup knocked out in the semi-finals against Real Hispales. Possibly could be asking to do a little bit more there. But overall, not horrific, but definitely room for improvement. So it's all about goals. Let's have a little look at that. And it is going to be Edison Cavani with 16 goals, and it is going to be Lino, the loanee, coming in with 15. In terms of the assists, we've got 18 and 13 being the two standouts, with 18 coming in from Jose Gaia and Lino coming in with 13. And if we have a little look at this guy right now, he is going to be difficult to keep around because he's absolutely incredible. He is rapid on the ball, got great decision making, also quite good at tackling as well, which is obviously what you need for a fullback. And his transfer value is worth a fair bit as well. So we have got to ask ourselves, is it possibly worth it to sell him to cash out? But if we actually look at that factor, we are going to have only 50% of transfer revenue made available to us. So realistically, we sell him for 40, we get 20. So that makes it a lot more of a hard decision. And going into this next season, that is going to be it. That is going to be it. 12.9 million is all that we have for getting Champions League football. Obviously finishing second place, that is all they have to offer, so it's got to be tricky. Tricky does not mean impossible. That is one thing you always have to remember, as we actually had a free transfer window. We completely raided the free transfer market, picking up the likes of Jonathan Bamba from Lille on the free, who is a fantastic player, by the way. He is slightly older, and a few of these signings are going to be older. We can't be too picky with our budget, especially. He's very rapid on the ball, he's got decent finishing, maybe not be the best of the best in the game, but for a free price tag and £43,000 a week for a player that has played, I believe, at some decent clubs. Obviously, Lille's quite a decent one. Also, St Etienne enjoying, he's been quite average, actually, let's just be realistic, but I'm hoping the averageness is going to be enough for him to be semi-decent in the Spanish league. From what it says about him as a player, he actually looks quite impressive. Going over to the next option, that is going to be Reiss Nelson, obviously formerly of Arsenal. And this guy is always available on the free. I would recommend you picking him up. He pretty much offers everything apart from good finishing. You do need to work on that quite a lot. But again, rapid on the ball, finishing, obviously, I know it needs quite a bit of work. Can play on both sides of the wing, which is incredible as well. And in terms of his history, we are going to be seeing him, obviously, at a stint of Feyenoord, Hoffenheim, Arsenal. He's played at some quite good clubs, so I'm hoping that goes in our favour, realistically. Over to Telmo now. Obviously, this is going to be a slightly more unorthodox signing. It's a player that I don't know too much about, to be honest. He's 22 years of age. He has got an absolute load of potential, which is always something you love to see. He can play on the right-hand side. He can play more centralised. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, he is fairly average when you first get him. But realistically, we needed to make sure we got bodies in this team, because a lot of players that we had are obviously going to be loanees, and that is a big issue when you lose so many players. Now, going over to what he's actually done in his career, he has always played in Portugal. Obviously, the second league here, has played in the main division as well. And last season, he was fairly average, to be honest with you, but realistically, in our situation, you have to go after people that are simply available and want to join. This is a player I'm very excited about, though. That is going to be Aiden, or Adin, should I say. Obviously, coming in from Bayern Munich, and I do genuinely believe this guy has got he's got something about him that I really like. So first of all, he's got tons of potential. Age 19, fairly decent in terms of attributes. Obviously, not incredible compared to some players, but he can play several roles in the deeper part of midfield, which is something we are definitely looking for, because we're trying to really stack out that midfield and give us loads of depth, pretty much, is what I'm trying to get at. In terms of his career stats, now he started off at Bayern, went to obviously Bayern 2, whatever you want to say, the second Bayern team. Then he obviously come to us at Valencia, and I'm really hoping he's actually been put into the Valencia B team, which will not be happening. I will pull him back into this team, don't you worry. But I am hoping that he can sort of develop on. Obviously, he's been playing in Germany his entire career. It's quite a bit of a change, but let's just hope he can obviously do something. Then last but definitely not least, we actually go to Real Madrid and pick up Mariano, also on the free, and this is to prepare ourselves. Now, I know what people are going to say, you're replacing an old striker with an old striker, and you are partly correct, but realistically, he's a great option on the market for free, especially, again, under £50,000 a week to have him at the club. His attributes are fantastic, 15 finishing, fairly average on the pace, but still okay, 15 and 15. Good work rate, good determination, good heading, and also good bravery. Can play pretty much every role when it comes to the striking option, which is exactly what we want to be seeing. And in terms of his history as well, he's actually had quite an interesting career. So he started off at Barcelona, I believe is how you say that. He then goes to Real Madrid, then to the C team, another season in the C team, then goes to the B team, plays for the main team, goes out to Lyon, actually, for a £7 million fee, joins back to Real Madrid for 19 million, has a few seasons there where he's just simply not getting used. I can't really judge the guy. And then we pick him up on the free, and hopefully we can be the good part of his career. In terms of the other players, though, that we did offload, we actually decided to offload Joam here to Nice for 2.7 million. And again, this is going to be a player which, to be honest, I probably would have kept around, but he just simply didn't want to stay, and that is completely fine. Some players don't. You have to offload those players because it causes more harm keeping him here at the club. And that leaves us with this team going into the second season. And I'm actually quite excited for this because I've sort of added, obviously, the likes of Bamba in here now, but you can see some of the players we've got on the bench. So obviously we've got the likes of Reece Nelson, who can easily cover this area of the field. Some really good options now on the bench. Obviously, a lot of players coming in, but there are going to be a lot of players leaving also very shortly. Then players that were on loan are going to be obviously offloaded. But with this system here and this front three consisting of Bamba, Nelson, and Cavani, I do feel like we can build from where we sort of got last season, and it is going to be difficult because obviously we finished in second place, and that's not always easy to build on considering Real Madrid and Barcelona and Atletico have probably all strengthened, but we can at least try, and with this team, let's go and give that a go. Well, it's not as positive. We still maintain getting in some type of European football, but it is going to be a 5th place finish. I mean, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona really took the title to everybody there. It was a 2-horse race. Madrid nowhere near this season either. And obviously, we're picking up a lot more losses now. That is something which I am starting to notice. But one thing is a very small victory in the sense of things that have happened. Realistically, Cavani is still absolutely banging in goals. 30 goals with 2 more than Benzema, which is obviously incredible to see. Gaia contributing the most assists as well. And Bamba also featuring in that list. We're going to have also player of the matches. Cavani dominates that joint first, obviously with Davy there coming in with 8, and Paulista, not a good thing. We do not condone this. 13 yellow cards. Now, realistically, this season isn't actually half bad. It's just the fact that we had a great first season, so now it looks a little bit worse than what it actually is. But I'm hoping that obviously maybe playing in sort of a Europa League sort of point, we might be able to actually have a chance of winning that. In terms of the competition tabs as well, it's not looking ideal. However, we did get to a Spanish Cup final. Runners up here, as you can see right now, which I believe we actually lost to Espanyol on penalty. So quite a little bit gut on there, to be honest with you. In terms of the actual Champions League, we had quite a tough group. I mean, all 3 of these teams here, Manchester City, AC Milan, Ajax, are all capable of beating us. We didn't actually take too much of a battering, really. We were only, we picked up 7 points. We didn't finish last. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it done there. And we actually lose in the round of 16 here against Udinese, which isn't ideal at all. Spanish Super Cup comes in, knocked out in the semi-finals against Real Madrid. Not too much to comment on that realistically. We are simply not ready to take them on as a challenger just yet. In terms of player stats, so I mean, Edison Cavani really carrying the team on his back, practically being the top goal scorer in every competition. But in terms of the squad, guys, we are going to look at the goals again, and you guessed it, it's going to be Edison Cavani coming in with 37 goals across the season, Bamba with 14, and it's going to be Telmo coming in, the new man, with 10, 7 also for Andre Almeida. And one thing we're noticing now is that Cavani is carrying the team by quite some distance, so we need to pay attention to this because as soon as he goes, which probably is going to be in the next season, he is 37 years of age. I believe that we need to seriously start possibly going a bit more attacking in some of these areas of the tactic because it's just mainly down to the striker, and obviously depending on who we can bring in is dependent on how well that's going to work in the future. In terms of the assists, we're going to have 19 and 14 being the standout. Again, Jose Gaia coming in, being the real standout figure. Bamba with 14 as well. 7 and 6 for Musa and Almeida again. But it's quite clear that in this Valencia team, we have got sort of 2 players that are really dominating the assist category and then pretty much 1 that is dominating the goal scorer. And so it's something we're going to have to look into, and that is going to be the main focus going into this next transfer window. Talking of transfer windows, we have got 49, that is the maxed out amount, £49 million to spend. So really attractive budget in this third transfer window. And it's going to be very interesting to see who we can attract to the club now, because no Champions League football, it's a little bit gutting. It would have been a real nice sort of partnership of having £50 million and European or Champions League football, because you can attract some good players and you've got money to spend. Now we've got money to spend, but only can attract European standard players who, might not be the best. So it's going to be a challenge, but let's go over to that third transfer window. So I'm going to show you this page first because realistically there's nothing too tasty on it, and I don't want to, ruin what we've done on the previous page when we go back. And that is going to be Marcus Andre goes to Espanyol, loan, 875k total fee. He is simply a player who I just can't see getting any sort of run in this team. He didn't really do much for us at all across any of the seasons either, as we are going to go and have a look at right now. I mean, 3 goals, 1 goal. He's not overall a horrific player, but just not really someone I plan on keeping too much. So letting him go isn't the end of the world. But where things get really tasty is going to be this. So we actually spend £65 million. Now, a lot of this is obviously done in installments as well. And although it's not the best thing to do with Valencia, I want to have a fun rebuild. I want to start competing for some trophies. We're not going to stop until we win the league or the Champions League. And that might take me 50 seasons, we never know. But we are going to kick things off with Nicolas Dominguez from Bologna. And this guy is a fantastic player. For you guys that watch my old Twitch streams, we had a Bologna save, and this guy was the heart of it. He is absolutely everything. Fantastic attributes all the way round. He can play anywhere in midfield, apart from sort of the attacking areas. The more deeper areas he is really comfortable with as well. Fantastic tackling, good stamina, good natural fitness, a real good player. And I do think I'm going to try and play him in a more box-to-box type role, because I think that is where he is going to thrive. The next player we bring in is going to be Brandon Williams from Manchester United. Again, a controversial character, not always, you know, in the news for the right reasons, let's just say that. But he's a 23-year-old fullback, still got a little bit of potential, only on £30,000 a week, which isn't too bad. And we are obviously preparing for that inevitable day when Guy decides to say, I want to leave, which is going to happen, I imagine. He's quite good, though, to be fair. 16 acceleration, good bravery, good determination, good pace, good stamina, good tackling as well. Can obviously play wing-back and full-back if we do wish to switch them up for whatever reason. And coming in at only 23 years of age. Next signing is going to be for £30 million. That is going to be Smith Rowe. Now, I'm actually a real big fan of this guy in real life, despite being a United fan. And I really like him in FM as well. Again, 24 years of age, so we are definitely signing for the future. Got very good current ability and potential ability, and he can play on the left and also in the centralised areas, so offers us a lot in this system. In terms of where we are more likely going to play him, it's probably going to be off the left, and he again can offer a lot. 16 acceleration, good pace, good balance, finishing, possibly could do with a little bit of work on, but that's exactly why he's here at Valencia, because we can build him into the player that we really want. And in terms of his history as well, he's had a very interesting sort of history. Obviously, 2015 is where you can first get history on him. At Arsenal, he was there into the 2018 season. I remember him going out on loan to RB Leipzig, actually. Then he had a little stint at Huddersfield. Then, you know, he started picking himself up realistically in this Arsenal team until sort of the last season where he wasn't as involved as much. I think that possibly could have been of an injury. But hopefully we can recover the bright stint that we got to see of Smith Rowe in this Valencia team. And going over to the next player, that is going to be a player with a lot of hype, obviously over in the Portuguese league. That is going to be Marcus Edwards from Sporting for £28.5 million. Say what you think of that price tag, might be a little bit much. But realistically, this player has got tons to offer. A little bit different to Smith Rowe, possibly in the sense of he is a lot more quicker, a little bit better at the finishing. His dribbling is incredible. 18 finishing, also great bit of flair, great composure, and also very good vision. 25 years of age, again, very flexible, can play on the left and can also play on the right. He can play in the middle, but not as comfortably, in my opinion. His history, he has also had a very interesting history. Obviously, we all know him. He started at Tottenham Hotspur, went out on loan to Norwich, back to Tottenham, but I can't even say that name, but had a little stint in the Dutch league where he played 25 games there. Back to Tottenham, obviously started off in Portugal at a slightly worse club, no disrespect. He gets moved to Sporting for £6.5 million, and then going to be 3 years later, he now joins us at Valencia. Going over to the last signing, that is going to be Antonio Blanco from the Real Madrid B-side for £8.2 million. And this is a very good option for you guys that are starting with a team with very little budget and you want to get a very solid midfield player in. Because this guy is 24 years of age, current ability sitting at 2.5 with a potential of 3.5. So his ceiling isn't the best compared to some of the midfielders you can get in this game. But for that price tag and for the fact it's on £25,000 a week, can't really complain, and that makes our team look incredibly strong. So strong, in fact, this is going to be what it looks like. This is what the game has suggested, filtered by the best 11. That is going to be obviously the same goalkeeper. We're going to have Rendell at right back. We've got Diakabi coming in at right centre back. Gabriel Paulista, Gaia. We've got Gunmayan. I'm going to butcher that name. That's who we've got in deep line playmaker. Dominguez, Smith Rowe, Bamba, Edwards and Mariano. Now, I possibly would tweak this a little bit, to be honest with you, and maybe we are going to see that come in. But this team is honestly really, really strong. I think possibly the back line could do some improvements. These players are obviously getting very old. We've got a couple of players that are unhappy, including our goalkeeper. We don't really want that to be happening. The midfield's really good, and the attack I would rate a solid 7, 8 out of 10. So I am hoping that this is enough to sort of recover us back into at least the Champions League places. And in terms of the schedule, now we've played a couple of friendlies. Obviously, Ajax game went really well, a draw against Sporting. A couple of other friendlies there, which we won't really focus on too much. The first month is going to be, it's quite an easy run-in, to be fair. Against Barcelona could be the only difficult fixture, realistically. I believe we can beat Pamplona, Elche, Getafe, and obviously Almeria. I believe we can obviously beat them. Bilbao and Madrid, Levante, Hispales is a more difficult month. You can't really deny that. The next month, I would say we should be winning 2 out of 3 of those games. The following month, Real Sociedad, Atletico Madrid, a couple of tough games in there. And obviously, the rest of the season is pretty much how it's going to line up. We've got a Super Cup semi-final there against Atletico Madrid, and then you play Sevilla. So that's a couple of tough games back-to-back. But what's quite nice to see is we've not had a month yet where we play Real Madrid and Barcelona in the same month. Obviously, this season here could be a bit of a tricky one, or this month in March 2025, Bilbao, Madrid, Real Hispales, and even Celta Vigo might put up a little bit of a fight. So this month here of March could definitely be quite an interesting one. But we just have to see what happens, because at the end of the day, I believe we can beat anyone on our day, and that is all that matters. So let's go over and see how well we do in this third season. Season 3 has ended, and do you know what? I'm actually going to take it, because we are back in the Champions League. We are back in the big time, finishing in 3rd place, only 2 points off that 2nd place finish, as Real Madrid do clench it. Barcelona run away with the title. Well, not really run away. A 6-point advantage coming in there. In terms of the goal scorers, obviously Cavani does not feature, meaning that he is going to be no longer at the club, which is, it's sad. Let's take a moment to appreciate what he done for us. For the time he was here, he carried us quite hard. But it is going to be Mariano finishing in 2nd place, coming in with 19 goals, which isn't too bad, to be honest. It's actually going to be Ponce coming in with 20, rank 1. Mariano picking up a 7.35 average match rating. Bamba with the most player of the matches. We don't feature at all in the most clean sheets. And the yellow cards, we unfortunately are still in there. 3rd place this time, better than being 1st. But overall, it's not a bad season, realistically. I mean, it definitely could have gone worse. What did we do? 27 wins, 4 draws, 7 losses. Can improve, but a 3rd place finish, I'm not going to complain about at all. We are still obviously heavily in that rebuilding phase. In terms of the actual competitions, though, it's not all doom and gloom, as we do win a Spanish Cup, and I am going to take it. It is going to be a 4-0 win against Bilbao, which we are happily going to take. Bamba picking up the most goals in this competition as well, joint obviously with Valencia and also Vidac coming in, but a very comfortable sort of cup there, to be honest, or a cup final. Champions League, we were knocked out in the league phase. We are not ready for that just yet. We're simply not ready. Runners up in the Spanish Super Cup, who are we against? It is going to be against Barcelona. We lost on penalties, and it's unfortunate because obviously you can see here it's going to be Edwards and Mariano picking up the most goals in the competition. The highest match rating as well goes to Edwards and Bamba. We actually had quite a good Spanish Super Cup, obviously, appearance, and it's a bit gutted, because 2 trophies is obviously a lot better than 1, but in terms of the actual squad, we've done quite well, to be honest. And talking about doing quite well, let's go and have a little look at the goals then. It's what we're all here for. 24 for Bamba, 23 for Mariano, Edwards with 19, Smith Rowe coming in with 17, Andre having a good season out on loan. But this is a lot better now. We've got 4 players scoring over 17 or 17 plus a season, which is a lot more comfortable than relying on 1 player. So clearly we are doing something right. And in terms of assists, again, we've got 9 from Musa, Gaia with 11 coming in from Telmo, Smith Rowe having a very good first season there. Edwards coming in also with 19 and 14. Smith Rowe having a very good season. That is beautiful to see. 17 goals, 13 assists, playing off the left. He is absolutely thriving. And going into Season 4, we've got a very similar, but a little bit more. We've got £54 million to spend going into this 4th transfer window. And in terms of areas we need to strengthen a little bit. Let's just be realistic. I'm looking at it right now, and the back line is where I'm really going to invest, because, I mean, possibly even the goalkeeper. He's a 2-star ability right now. Centre-backs need upgrading significantly. Paulista obviously is getting on a little bit. He is 34 years of age. Gaia, do we keep him? Do we sell him? Depends on what offers come in, because if we get a really good offer, despite us only getting, what, 50% of him, if we can get 50, 60 million, I'll take £25 million transfer budget and work with the fullbacks we have. But it's going to be a very challenging 4th transfer window. We can literally strengthen in every area. So I can't really pinpoint to what we're going to sign, but let's go over and do it. It's going to be a dramatic fourth transfer window, as it is going to be focused on the transfers out first of all. We can see a couple of players here going out, which aren't really too much of a loss. Gaia goes to Manchester City. Manchester City, he goes to for £69 million. Obviously, you can see right now, including the add-ons. We also let Police to go to Shakhtar for £89,000. And obviously, Castillo there goes to Salzburg on the free. Now, Gaia is a fantastic player, and it is a massive loss. But realistically, he is 30 years of age. He was soaking up some wage. Yes, he's been good every season, but this is the time to sell him. This is the time where you need to cash in on players like this, because they are only going to go downhill. But in terms of what this guy has done, I mean, it's quite sad, guys, because he has been at the club since 2010. I mean, he has been a Valencia legend, enjoying some really good seasons of late as well. But when a team like Man City come knocking, you have to give in and just take the money, despite only getting 50% of it. And that allowed us to have one of the most outrageous transfer windows in probably Spanish history, as we are now going to look at the transfers coming in. We're going to kick things off with a couple of freebies. And when I say a couple of freebies, I don't mean bad players. We're going to kick things off then with Matoma coming in from Brighton on the free. Now, this guy's absolutely incredible. I mean, he is on a fair whack, 105k a week. 4-star current ability, pretty much peaked at this age, but it's not a bad thing to be peaking when you're this good. He can play on both wings, on the left, on the right, 18 dribbling, 16 first touch, great amount of flair, good concentration, absolutely rapid. In terms of where he's not played at any massive clubs. That is the only downside. Obviously, starting his career off in Japan, comes to England for Brighton, which, to be fair, he's really good at. Obviously, then he's got a little spell at Union, which, is what it is. He goes back to Brighton, never really took off in this game, unlike he's going to in real life. And we're going to be the lifeline for him. He can come to the Spanish league, similar to what Edwards done, and really set this league alight. It's happened with Edwards. It's happened with Smith Rowe. Why can't it happen with Matoma? That is the question. Let's see what he can do. And then we go over to Juventus on the free again, and we pick up Weston McKennie. And now this guy obviously might not be everyone's favourite player. I know he didn't really impress too much at Leeds, in my opinion, but I do think this guy has got potential. He really does. He's a fantastic box-to-box option, should I say. 26 years of age. Again, the only downside, he is going to use one of those, obviously, non-EU player registration things, which is quite frustrating. But besides that, he is exactly what we need. His history has been quite an interesting one. Started off in USA for the FC Dallas Juniors, goes to Schalke. Obviously had 4 years in Schalke, goes to Juventus, goes to Leeds, back to Juventus, and ends up in Spain. Where hasn't this guy played? He's been everywhere. Next player is just simply going to be a backup goalkeeper. Nothing really too much, nothing too special about him. We're not going to spend too much time at all on this guy, because realistically, he probably won't even play too much of the games, because we've already got our first team goalkeeper. This guy, however, will get a look in. That is going to be the Anzu from Sevilla, £20 million. And again, we're siding this lad for several reasons. 23 years of age. Again, what you want to be sort of trying to aim at, bringing in some youngsters. Current ability, 2.5. Potential ability, 3.5. So still got quite a bit of room to grow. In terms of him as a centre-back, he isn't the quickest. So we're going to make sure we partner him alongside of someone that is a little bit quicker. Because obviously, the only downside to this is he's got to get caught out of his, if we had him and another slow centre-back, it probably wouldn't work. So we're going to make sure we partner him alongside someone who has got a little bit of pace in case he needs bailing out. But other than that, he makes up for this, obviously, with his aggression, good determination, good jumping, good balance. And again, he's just a really good option to bring in. In terms of where he has played, now he has been an absolute giant. He's played at PSG, he's played at Bayern, he's played at Sevilla, and he's now playing at Valencia. So he has played at some really big clubs. And that is sometimes what you need. You need players that have played for these powerhouses, because he's picked up the experience. And going over to the next player, that is going to be a right back, which we desperately needed after letting go of a right back. That is going to be from Freiburg, £6.5 million. Hugo Segay, I believe that's how you say that. And this is a player I've never picked up in my life, but realistically, he looks fairly decent. 23 years of age, the current ability at 2.5, 3-star cap. So not going to grow into, a Trent Alexander-Arnold, for example, but he has got some good attributes for a backup option. We can't really deny that. 16 acceleration, good fitness, good pace, good stamina, okay tackling. He can obviously play a little bit further up as well if you need him to. And again, £69,000 a week isn't going to break the bank either, so quite a good signing there. Next up, we go over to the Bundesliga, and that is going to be Wolfsburg. £16 million, you pick up Lacroix, and this is a very famous FM signing. Everyone loves picking him up. 25 years of age, should I say. Current ability at 3 stars, potential ability coming in at 3.5. In terms of him as an actual defender, he is really, really good. Now, this is what I mean. He is a very quick defender. 15 acceleration, 17 pace, good fitness, good determination, 14 tackling. He can play ball player, no nonsense, libero. He can play it literally all at the age of 25. Absolutely incredible. And his history has been a more of a less exciting one than the Anzu. Obviously started off in France, gets his move to Wolfsburg for 4.4 million, where he enjoys 5 seasons, and now he comes over to Spain to hopefully win us a trophy. 2 more signings to talk about, and that is going to be Ander, coming in from Real Sociedad for £21.5 million. This guy can play pretty much anywhere in that front three, which is why I favoured him over the other options, because he can play on the left, he can play up front, he can play on the right, and he can play any role in those areas as well. Realistically, this guy is going to be mostly used on the wings, so these are going to be his attributes for that role. Yes, pretty average, I'm going to be honest with you, but this is purely a sign-in made for versatility reasons. That is pretty much it. In terms of his ability, 3-star, not horrific. Potential, 3.5. Wage, £44,000 a week, so not too much to have at the club either. In terms of his history, he has been a Real Sociedad boy his entire life. 2016 season is when we first have history of him, and he makes his move to Valencia, the big time, in 2025. So realistically, more of a sign-in made just to add depth to the team and the areas we can cover. The last sign-in, £37 million on Enrique Araujo, obviously coming in from Benfica, and this guy, I used him not so long back, and he was absolutely incredible. 14 acceleration, 13 pace, great finishing, good off the ball work as well. He can play pretty much any role when it comes to that striker area as well. £84,000 a week, current ability at 4-star, 4-star potential, so he's probably maxed out that right now, but he is absolutely incredible. And he's a perfectionist. But in terms of his history, he has been at a very mixture. He's been at a mixture of clubs. He's obviously been in Portugal, then goes to Benfica, obviously still in Portugal on the free. He then goes to the B team for a little while, works back into the main Benfica team, goes back to the B team, goes out on loan to Watford, which he had a very good season here. 40 games, 24 goals. 2 seasons back at Benfica, then he arrives in Spain at Valencia, where he is going to win us a trophy. And the team is now going to look like this. So you can see a little bit of a change. We're obviously going to stick with the same goalkeeper. We're going to have Rendell coming in. Diakabi hopefully is going to get changed. We're probably going to look to have this centre-back partnership, to be honest. So Lacroix, Nianzou, Williams, Dominguez. We're going to probably in this area actually have Weston McKennie after he's back from international duty. Smith Rowe, Matoma, Edwards and Araujo. Now that team is absolutely fantastic. And the schedule, the last sort of thing we sort of focused was pretty much have we got any sort of tough months, and yeah, this is not looking pretty, guys. Realistically, the fixtures look fine, but what is this for a month? September 2025, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, Barcelona. Help me. We are playing the 3 best teams in Spain back to back. Absolutely nuts. I mean, other than that, it's not going to be too bad. Obviously, we've got Bilbao here back to back in the league and the Super Cup semi-finals. This month is fine. This month is fine. This month, again, we feature the same situation. Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Espanyol and Barcelona in the month of February 2026. And I'm not too confident seeing this at all, because there's also a couple of boogie teams in there as well, like Real Hispales. They could get a point from us quite easily. We should actually beat Girona and obviously Espanyol. But that is 2 really difficult months. I mean, them months are as hard as you're going to get. So all I can do is say, let's go over. Maybe you liking the video will help me out. Give me some luck. But let's go ahead and see what we can do, because we have got some tough months. Season 4 has ended, and do you know what? It's not actually too bad. It's not too bad at all, because we've maintained a 2nd place finish. And do you know what? Real Madrid was simply too good. We've outplaced Barcelona. We've outplaced Atletico Madrid to finish in 5th place. Not very good by them at all. What I am noticing is quite a big lack of the goals. We were featuring in a lot of them in previous seasons, and also the assists. We don't feature in them as well. Clearly, we've been a little bit better defensively, as it is going to be our goalkeeper getting the most clean sheets trophies, just above Courtois, coming in with one less. But no one features in the goals, which is very unlike us, as weird as that sounds. In terms of competitions, though, let's go and have a little look. So we actually, that's the semi-final. Champions League winners. Well, there we go. I mean, I was not expecting that. I was reading Champions League, expecting to see knocked out in the Champions League path, but we have won 2-1 in extra time against Liverpool, meaning we've actually won 2 trophies. We also won the Spanish Cup here, but no one cares about that now. We've won the Champions League against Liverpool. I mean, fair play. That is ridiculous to win the Champions League before the actual Spanish title, is it? I'm not even sure. I'm in shock. But we also won the Spanish Cup against Real Madrid in a 4-1 win. So 2 very convincing finals here. I say convincing, it was an extra time. And runners up here in the Spanish Super Cup against Valencia, where they beat us, Real Madrid, 1-0. But what a season. I mean, wow. In terms of the squad then, we are going to have 26 from Araujo, top goal scorer in his first season. Marcus Edwards with 20, 19 for Matoma, Ander with 10 as well. So a lot of different goal scorers. Same goes for assists as well. 15 for Edwards, Matoma with 14, 10 for Sakwe, Smith Rowe coming in with 9, 6 for Vasquez as well. But I need to see this schedule, guys. I really do. So there's a lot of green coming in. What happened in that month we played all of these good teams then? So we actually ended up playing the likes of... Oh, they actually changed. They actually did change, I believe, but still, we played Madrid, which we lost. We drew against Madrid, so that was the first real scare that we had. We beat Bayern here 2-0. The Champions League, we were clearly dominant in. Barcelona, a 5-0 win here. This is where things get interesting. So a 5-0 win here, 5-2 against Celtic. We drew the game against Bilbao, but won the obviously the Super Cup semi-final. Lost in the the actual final, which is a little bit gutting. But that is what it is. Manchester City, unfortunately, we lose to. We beat Arsenal. We beat some really big teams here, and quite convincingly. Atletico Madrid 3-0. Barcelona, obviously, we lost the first leg here, but then win in the second leg in 3-0 fashion. We beat Atletico Madrid here 3-1. Porto 4-0. Porto 3-0. I mean, we have beaten some absolutely incredible teams. And how about this for a last month? 2-1, 2-0, 0-0, 4-1, 2-0, 4-0, 2-1. I mean, we played some good football. I think that's pretty safe to say. What a season. But I mean, realistically, guys, we have completely transformed this club around. And I was thinking, do we do 5 seasons? Do we do 4? And since we have gone off on a high, I'm going to call it there because I feel like we might not be able to replicate this in the 5th season. In terms of what we've left them with, we have left them with a very good squad. I'm going to let you feast your eyes on it right now in terms of some of the sheer ability we have left this team with. I mean, we have given them an incredible squad and an incredible rebuild. We really, really have. Obviously, picking up some good trophies along the way as well. I just want to quickly say, if you have enjoyed today's video, there's a lot of effort gone into it personally by myself, being a little bit more snappy with the edits, making the videos more entertaining for you guys. So please, if you are at this point in the video, please drop a comment on what you think of this style of video, and please do consider dropping the like button and hitting a notification bell when you subscribe. And if you want to get involved in the content, you can also drop a team right now on what you want to see rebuilt or a tactic you want to see, either or. But I'll see you in the next video and enjoy the rest of your day.